Hello friends, it's me again, Joseph, your host, and welcome back to our channel and the Saints Story for Kids. Today we're going to talk about two amazing saints who were best friends and helpers of one of the most famous apostles, St. Paul. We're talking about Saint Timothy and Saint Titus. Their feast day is January 26th, right after we celebrate the conversion of St. Paul. It's a perfect time to learn how these two friends helped him change the world. So, who were these guys? Imagine St. Paul as the captain of a huge team spreading the good news of Jesus. Timothy and Titus were like his star players, his trusted co-captains. They weren't just helpers, they were like sons to him. Paul loved them dearly and trusted them with some of the most important jobs in the early church. Let's dive into their stories. First, let's meet Timothy. Timothy was a young man from a town called Lystra, which is in modern-day Turkey. He had a really special family. His mom, Eunice, and his grandmother, Lois, were women of great faith. They taught Timothy all about the scriptures from the time he was a little boy. His dad, however, was Greek and wasn't a believer. So Timothy grew up with one foot in the Jewish world and one in the Gentile, or non-Jewish world. This unique background became super important when St. Paul came to his town. Paul was on one of his big missionary journeys, and he noticed something special in Timothy. The other Christians in Lystra all said what a great young man he was. Paul saw his good heart and his strong faith, which his mom and grandma had nurtured. So, Paul asked Timothy to join him, and Timothy said yes. He left home to travel with Paul, helping to preach, teach, and start new churches. Paul even called him his beloved son. Timothy was a bit shy and maybe even a little anxious, but Paul always encouraged him to be brave and strong in his faith. Now let's talk about Titus. Titus was different from Timothy. He was a Greek and wasn't raised with Jewish traditions at all. He became a Christian after hearing Paul's preaching. Paul saw that Titus was not only faithful, but also incredibly wise, brave, and good at handling tricky situations. He was the guy Paul sent in when things got tough. One time, the church in a city called Corinth was having a lot of problems and arguments. It was a real mess. Who did Paul send to sort it out? Titus. And he did. Titus patiently worked with the people, helped them find peace, and restored their community. He wasn't afraid of a challenge. Paul was so relieved and happy when Titus came back and told him everything was okay. He called Titus his true child in the faith and praised his dedication. As the church grew, Paul needed leaders he could count on to take care of the new Christian communities. These weren't easy jobs. Imagine being sent to a big city or an entire island to be the main leader, the bishop. That's exactly what Paul asked Timothy and Titus to do. He sent Timothy to the bustling city of Ephesus. Ephesus was a major hub with all sorts of different beliefs and challenges. The church there needed a strong, steady leader to teach the truth and protect them from false ideas. Since Timothy was young, this was a huge responsibility. To help him, Paul wrote 2 letters to him, which we now have in the Bible, 1st and 2nd Timothy. In these letters, Paul gives him advice on everything: how to be a good leader, how to choose other leaders, how to care for the poor and widows, and to be brave. He tells him, "Let no one despise you for your youth, but set the believers an example in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, in purity." Meanwhile, Paul sent Titus to the large island of Crete. The situation there was also very challenging. Paul needed someone he could trust completely to organize the church, appoint good elders in every town, and teach the people how to live as followers of Jesus. Titus was the perfect man for the job. Paul also wrote a letter to him, which is also in the Bible, called the Letter to Titus. In it, Paul gives clear instructions on what to teach and how to lead. He reminds Titus to be a good example for everyone. Think about it. St. Paul couldn't be everywhere at once. The mission was too big. He needed reliable, faithful friends like Timothy and Titus to build the church. They weren't always in the spotlight, but their quiet, steady work was absolutely essential. They were the builders, the peacemakers, the teachers who worked behind the scenes to make sure the faith took root and grew strong. Their stories teach us so many things. First, they show us the power of friendship and mentorship. Paul guided and taught them, and in return they supported and helped him. We all need people in our lives who can guide us in our faith, and we can be that person for someone else too. Second, they show us that God can use anyone, no matter their background or personality. Timothy was young and a bit timid, while Titus was a Gentile and a courageous problem solver. God used both of their unique gifts for his mission. It doesn't matter if you're shy or bold, young or old, God has a special role for you. Third, their lives remind us that quiet, faithful service is incredibly important. You don't have to be famous or preach to huge crowds to make a difference. Simply being faithful in your daily life, in your family, at school, or at work, is a powerful way to serve God. Timothy and Titus show us that small, steady acts of love and service can change the world. So on January 26th, we remember these two incredible saints. Saint Timothy is the patron saint for people with stomach issues, because Paul once advised him to take a little wine for his stomach, and also for those who feel anxious or afraid. Saint Titus is the patron saint of Crete. They were true friends of Saint Paul and steady servants of the gospel. They helped lay the foundation of the church we are all a part of today. Let's end with a prayer. Dear Saints Timothy and Titus, you were called by God to be faithful co-workers in the mission of the church. You served with courage, wisdom, and love. Please pray for us that we may also be brave in sharing our faith and serving others wherever God has placed us. Help us to be good friends and steady servants, just like you. Saints Timothy and Titus, pray for us. Thanks so much for watching. You've learned something new about these amazing saints. Please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories. Take care, everyone. Stay safe and healthy as usual. See you next time, and God bless you always.